All right, now let's talk about the second attachment style, which is the anxious attachment style. So I already finished completing my video on the secure attachment style. The link should be down below in the description box. And I've had already posted an introduction to attachment theory video. The link should also be down below in the description box. Now let's get to the anxious attachment style. First things first, with all four attachment styles, you have to understand that from the day you were born up until the age of 25, the neurons in your brain actually take shape according to the way that you're biologically responding to certain experiences. And your body sort of gets used to acting a certain way because you feel like as if your defense mechanism is working. So, as an adult, past the age of 25, you think that it's not you thinking, but biologically you get used to acting a certain way. So, with the anxious attachment style, the thing is that they feel the need to be within groups of people, or even though it's not with groups of people, it's with people in general. They have to connect or talk to people, be around people. They need to be surrounded by people because they do not feel comfortable with being alone and isolated. And the reason for that is because people with an anxious attachment style lack the ability of self soothing. Okay, now this is not to say that they are never able to self soothe. Of course, from now and then, they might be able to step away from the crowd, or once they really feel like as if it is a necessity to leave and be by themselves, but it rarely happens with them because they have biologically gotten used to being with people. Because throughout their childhood, they have been taught that being alone is something that is not safe. That's what they have been taught as a child. That being home alone is not safe. Which this could be actually something that they have experienced. Maybe they've been home alone, or maybe they came home. They came home from school, and once they were home, their parents weren't there, so they felt really scared. And this could have been something that had happened quite often. So, not to confuse this with the avoidantly attached people who feel comfortable with being alone. So maybe they also have been left alone, but they actually feel like they can self soothe and that they are better off without having people around them. So that is a whole other type of attachment style. Now, with the anxious attachment style, being alone really does not feel good. It does not feel safe. They need to be with people. And when they are alone, they could actually physically shake. Okay, there's some confusions about the anxious attachment style and the avoidant attachment style. Um, the confusion is that with the avoidantly attached people, they do not feel comfortable with being around people, so they might start like feeling nervous when they're with people. So that's why people get confused by the name. Like, oh, shouldn't they be anxiously attached? No, no, no. The anxious attachment style is people who feel the need to attach to others because they cannot be left alone. So they actually shake when they're by themselves, okay? Like literally, they might physically shake, and they might go outside and try to bond with people because they really cannot be alone. Also, I cannot forget to mention this. People who are anxiously attached usually have abandonment issues, abandonment trauma. Maybe somebody has left them, and this probably occurred quite often in their childhood, like having a parent who had passed away, and then years later, maybe they were in a relationship with someone and that person broke up with them, left them, abandoned them. Maybe with group activities, they have been isolated and that did not feel good for them. They want to be with their teammates, they want to get together with them. So throughout their childhood, they've had these experiences of being in groups make me feel comfortable. Being alone really does not feel good. It feels traumatizing. It feels awful. And the problem with the anxious attached, with people who are anxiously attached, is that once they feel like as if the person that they are interacting with are moving away, somehow, like, let's say they're having a conversation with someone. Now this is something that's a bit of an exaggeration, so not everyone is like this, not everyone with an anxious attachment style would be doing this, but this is like an exaggeration of some sort of what the anxiously attached person would do. So you're having a conversation with them, and maybe your phone is ringing or you're getting text messages. So you look at your phone and you're texting someone or you're talking to someone on the phone. The person with an anxiously attachment style might feel like as if you're abandoning them, sort of like you're leaving from the conversation and now they have to do something to get your attention. Initially, what they could Okay, I had to pause for a second. So initially, they might act in a very nice way to grab your attention, to bond with you. And once they feel like as if that's not working, what they would do is they would act out, like they might show some bad behavior because, again, they're trying to grab your attention. Now, what happens afterwards, unfortunately, is that once they show this bad behavior, like they act out, they might even be like yelling and going all up in your face and all that. What happens is that the person that they're trying to bond with is going to step back, and that's going to make them feel worse. But eventually, this is what happens. People really do leave those who have an anxious attachment style, and the reason for that is because since they fear being alone, since they are afraid of being abandoned, what happens is that they end up being abandoned. Okay, that's pretty much how it goes. You are so afraid of something happening, eventually that is what happens. So they are trying to make people not leave, and eventually, with all these things that they're doing, whether they're being nice or mean or whatever. Also, people with an anxious attachment style, they lack boundaries. So boundaries is also a very important topic in attachment theory. People with an anxious attachment style, they really do lack boundaries, and they lack the idea of boundaries. So they don't know what your boundaries are. They're going to step into your boundaries and you're going to want to step back. Whereas people who are avoidantly attached, they have a lot of boundaries. So it's very hard to like talk to someone with an avoidant attachment style. So now in this part of the video, let me talk about what the anxiously attached person would look like in the workplace and how they interact with people of other attachment styles. Okay, so inside the workplace, while they're working in their jobs and the things that they do on a day-to-day basis, they have to be surrounded by people. Okay, that's what the anxiously attached group is all about, being with people. So they could get a job that is really about interacting with people. So when it comes to jobs that are more isolating, like sitting in the corner of the room in front of a computer and not interacting with people, that is actually very hard for them because they do not feel comfortable with being by themselves. So they really wouldn't go for a job that's like very isolating. They actually want to be surrounded by people. So that's how they are inside of the workplace. Um, Also, the thing is that they're usually not very disciplined. So while they're working, I mean, it depends. Not everyone's the same. So we are talking about like 25% of the world. So not everyone's going to act the same at work, but usually anxiously attached people don't like follow the rules step by step. They actually sort of are a little more fluid. They do this and that, but they really do like interacting with people. So that's how they are at work. Now, how they are with other attachment styles. So they are usually friends with their own attachment group. So an anxiously attached person and an anxiously attached person are going to be friends. They're going to get along pretty well, especially at the very beginning when they're both trying to bond. But at the end, they might actually have a problem with each other because that's usually how it goes. Like in the beginning, they're very friendly, and then once they feel like there's a problem, they sort of like act out. So one of them could do something to hurt the other, and vice versa, and then they might actually not be friends anymore. but in the very beginning they really do bond, and usually they do stay friends, okay? Because the purpose of the attachment style, the second attachment style being the anxious attachment style, is that they have to be with groups of people, with friends. So because they have the same attachment style, they're going to bond. Now, the opposite of the anxiously attached person would be the avoidantly attached person. They could partner up with them romantically, or they might actually not get along at all. So if you have two people where one of them is anxiously attached and the other one is avoidant, and let's say they have to complete a task at work, first things first, they have different ideas of how the work should be done. So anxiously attached people are going to want to get opinions of other people, and the avoidantly attached person is going to be like, no, let's just stay over here and complete the work and be done with it. The avoidantly attached person is not interested in bonding at all. So how does this relationship work in a romantic setting? Well, here's the thing. The anxiously attached person, one of the main reasons why they're so anxious is because they probably had a caregiver who was either not around, or maybe they had an avoidant attachment style themselves. So the idea of someone leaving is actually very familiar to them. So once they have someone who isolates themselves, who would turn their backs on people, who doesn't want to talk to anybody, the anxiously attached person is going to want to um, connect with them in a different way. So maybe not be friends with them, but they might actually partner up. So with the secure attached person, they could either be partners with them or they could be friends. The disorganized attached person is not going to be good for the avoidantly attached, because with the disorganized attachment style, they act like a combination of both anxious and avoidant. So avoidantly attached people, they don't bond with anybody, right? But anxiously attached people, they want to be in groups. So with the disorganized attachment style, they do a combination where they do get together with people, but they're not actually bonding because they don't know how to bond with people. The disorganized attachment style is very different. So I don't really expect an anxiously attached person and a disorganized attached person to actually get along, because the anxiously attached person is not going to get what they want. They're not going to be able to bond with them, and they're not going to be able to partner up with them because they're not consistent. Okay, let's just put it that way. So yeah, this was a long video, but there's a lot to talk about when you talk about the anxiously attached style, because they really do a lot of things. They're always around people. They're always behaving in a certain way. So yeah, that's why this video is kind of long. But the avoidantly attached people don't really do much, so that video could actually be a lot shorter. Anyways, thank you for watching. Like this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. So thank you. Bye.